Remember you sent me that pic?
Yeah, I remember seeing it and being like, is something off? Like, did she Photoshop herself weird? I was immediately shook.
Hello, clowns.
I'm Ummy.
I'm Yu Chen, and we're the hosts of Clown Vibes Podcast.
We're just two best friends who get together to laugh and discuss a variety of topics.
From all things pop culture to navigating through adulthood as Asian Americans and more, with our very own clownspin, of course.
We're so glad to have you here to clown around with us, and we really hope you enjoy the episode. Hello, clowns. Welcome back for another episode. Can you believe that we've recorded 5 now? I'm pretty impressed and proud of us.
I think this was our first milestone that we said we wanted to meet, and we are doing it.
So, what's been going on in your world?
All right. I have a clown moment of
Okay.
the week. Have you seen the drama cosplay? No, it's Ashley on TikTok. Do you know who No, It's Ashley
Yes.
is?
I did it until this drama came out. So correct me if I'm wrong, but it's basically a Taylor Swift lookalike who is scary and stalkerish. Honestly, when I saw her on my For You page, I was like, what happened to Taylor Swift? Because she
Oh my
looks
gosh, I thought she was Taylor.
eerily similar. Yeah, I was like, who is
Yes.
this girl? Like, why did Taylor switch her? I just was super confused. But I
Yeah.
don't know much about the Grammy stuff. Was seeing it, but I did not bother to really look into it.
Okay, basically at a high level, she announced to her TikTok followers that she partnered with the Grammys and she was like posting videos about it, like all of her like getting her dress and the morning of. And apparently she like flew all the way to LA, spent money on hotel, flights, and childcare just to have like her contract rescinded right when she landed. And basically, she made a series exposing the company. Like, she didn't hide anything or like anyone's names. And everyone, well, not everyone, but like a big chunk of maybe Swifties are
Hmm.
on her, like in her comments saying, no, you're psychotic. You're just making this up. But I believe her because she has like receipts of like all the DMs and the timelines. And
Uh-huh.
me being a super stalker myself, decided to look this company up and like the person that she's been coordinating with. And there's no way that you can just make a fake profile on LinkedIn. I do think like LinkedIn is a very credible source for like if this person
Yeah.
exists at a specific company. And this like PR firm is legit. And so like everything that she mentions within like the comms with this PR company seems legit. Their whole perspective is like, we'd love for you to like partner with the Grammys in order to like bring
Hmm.
Gen Z Swifties to like watch the show.
Don't Gen Z Swifties hate her?
Yes,
So this PR
which
company is just dumb.
yeah, apparently they have like a set number of like tickets.
Hmm.
And first of all, they're not paying for her flight, for her like hotel or anything. Like nothing is comped except for the ticket. And the weird thing people are saying is like they went back and forth on the contract a lot. And what like Ashley was really specific about was that she wanted her husband to walk the red carpet with her.
Okay.
And they were like, maybe we could make it happen, but maybe not. She's like, okay, if they can't, then can my publicist get like a PR pass or a press pass to walk with me? Because she was like really nervous about the whole like red carpet experience. And
Okay.
she added like this like addendum to her contract, which basically was like, um, I don't want the press to mistake me for being Taylor. And she made this like whole spiel on her TikTok. She's like, I have brown eyes. No one, like, I'm not Taylor. Like, no one can mistake me for Taylor, which I'm just like, everyone mistakes you for Taylor. That's your entire brand. Like, what are you talking about? And she was kind of hinting that like she was scared for her safety. And she's like, I don't want the
Interesting.
press to think I'm Taylor, which I'm just like, but you're there. The entire Grammys red carpet situation is for the press.
Yeah. Also really wild that she has a publicist. Like anyone and their mom has a publicist these days.
But also, she was trying to like communicate with the PR firm, like through her and her husband, who's like her manager, her acting manager. And I'm just
Okay.
like, you should have just like directed this to PR or to your publicist right
Yeah.
away. her publicist was like involved with it and like vetted it. Another weird thing is that apparently like they did not sign the contract yet, and the first like stipulation in the contract was like this can be like rescinded if like any party chooses to. So like
Oh,
the contract isn't binding, very similar to how like you can just rescind an offer, like an employee
yeah,
contract is at will, which I think is also very clownish, because
yeah.
why is it standard for you to give your employer 2 weeks notice, but when an employer fires you, they're not allowed, or they don't have to give you a 2 week notice? Clowns.
Yeah,
But
that's a good point.
yes, another clownish moment in this whole Taylor Ashley Grammy situation is that she even reached out to like the president of the Grammys to like complain
What?
about this. And I'm just like, who are you to
The
do
president of the
this?
Grammys was like, "What the fuck?
And he was
Where
just
did
like,
you come
we'll look
from?"
into this.
He has nothing to do with the PR company. He's like, "I don't care about one ticket."
Yeah, but she's like really upset about it. And she's been getting a lot of hate for it, which I think it just goes to show that Ashley's not very good for Taylor's reputation. And
No.
another rumor that's like swirling around is Taylor's team got wind that Ashley is going to the Grammys, and they intervened and got her ticket retracted.
I saw
Which
that
like
one.
makes sense, I think,
Yeah.
because Taylor wasn't confirmed to attend yet. And when she did, like, obviously, I don't think like you want to quote unquote Taylor's, even though she's Ashley and everyone supposedly knows she's
Yeah.
Ashley.
Also, it's probably very creepy for Taylor to have a fake whatever Taylor lookalike there. She's probably
At the
worried
Grammys.
that her stalker is right next to her.
Like, it's not like they're at the like Ripley's Believe It or Not, or
Yeah.
like the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Like, this is a like legit award show.
Mhm. And her stalker is being basically
Crazy.
recognized for being her stalker, like, is getting money for being her public
Yes.
stalker. I really need to look into if she changed her appearance to be Taylor, like her like facial structure.
I just wonder if Taylor ever dyes her hair, we'll actually dye her
Oh,
hair.
immediately. Immediately. She can't not at this point.
Yeah.
Why does the publicist or the PR company think that she's good for Gen Z? Because isn't she older? So what does that have
She's,
to do with Gen Z?
well, one of the like things that they wanted her to do was like make a TikTok and say like, oh, I'm going to the Grammys, calling all Swifties, like you should like watch and just support Taylor.
They were gonna do that anyway.
Yeah, and also I don't think the hardcore Swifties are Gen Zers.
Yeah, true.
They're
That's a good
millennial
point.
women now.
Yeah, yeah. That's a great point. Crazy.
You know how I've always wanted a twin? This is basically it. Taylor has a twin.
A
It's
twin she
Ashley.
freaking hates.
A twin that like is trying to take over her identity. Oh my gosh, this is like a sci-fi movie.
This is like that Avril Lavigne conspiracy where Melissa
Yes.
took over for her. Ashley's gunning for Taylor to die and so that she can take over. Lord, that's alarming. Have you been seeing all of the TikToks about Ozempic lately?
I have. It went through like a really intense news cycle. I want to say like 2 or 3 weeks ago, when I think
Mm-hmm.
everyone was talking about Ozempic, which is odd because when I did a little digging, I think it's been around for a few years. But it's gaining
Definitely.
like traction just now. And I think like mainly because of the backlash that's coming out around celebrities using Ozempic for weight loss. Do you know like what Ozempic is?
I do at a very, very high level only.
Okay, I do too. I mean, obviously, like I don't take Ozempic, so this
Yeah.
isn't firsthand knowledge, but just based on some like preliminary research, it's a type 2 diabetes medication that you can get from the pharmacy with a prescription.
Mm-hmm.
And it came into the US around 2019, which is still like a
Okay.
fairly new drug.
Yeah.
A lot of like people with diabetes and other, I think it's used for like other things as well, but mainly known
Mm-hmm.
for type 2 diabetes. What's like clownish of this entire situation is that so many people are taking it for weight loss reasons, and
Yeah.
there are like severe side effects to it. And I don't know if you've seen like any of the TikTok videos from people who actually take Ozempic for its like intended reason, but there's like so many scary
Mm-hmm.
stories about how they have like nausea like constantly. They're like severely vomiting. And of
Oh
course, like
God.
one of the like really major side effects is
Mm-hmm.
the loss of appetite, which kind of leads into why celebrities are taking it for the weight loss aspect. But yes, it has been just on my TikTok for a while now. And like
Yeah,
certain celebrities are also associated with
definitely.
Ozempic. And there's also like different substitutes of Ozempic. Like Ozempic is, I think, the main drug, but actually a lot of celebrities take the other one, I think
Yeah.
called
Wegovy. Yeah, something like that.
Wegovy.
Yeah. Yeah, I only heard of it once all of the rumors that celebrities were using it came out. And then I started seeing the TikTok videos about everything.
I know that there are a lot of people who actually need this drug to
Definitely.
like stay on the transplant list, to like regulate their blood pressure. So this is like a life-changing drug that celebrities and people who are using it for weight loss specifically are essentially abusing. And I've
Yeah.
seen like a lot of stuff about how the price of Ozempic has really fluctuated. First, like
Mm,
fuck this whole like pharma thing.
yeah,
Like they are partially responsible for the supply issue of it,
definitely.
because they're probably holding like supply back to
Mm-hmm.
accommodate for demand price fluctuations. And then the clown of like everything in healthcare, the insurance companies, like
Yeah. Always
I've seen
hoeing.
people say like their Ozempic costs $20 or their Ozempic costs like $900. So it really does like I think depend on your
Your
insurance and
insurance.
also prices right now. And then another thing is that these people who really need it have been going to like pharmacy to pharmacy trying to like source different
Mm-hmm.
or source their Ozempic, and they're just like unable to.
Yeah. I think the celebrity aspect of everything is a little bit sick. They're abusing this drug and also lying about taking it, presumably not to get the backlash for stealing this drug essentially from people who actually need it, and promoting extremely, extremely rapid weight loss by saying, hey, I worked out, I ate well for X amount of time to lose this weight. I did not have anything else helping me.
I think you'll see like Chloe is a really good example of what is in for like the body right now, and her
Yeah,
body
Kim and
has like
Chloe.
really changed. And I think like the Kardashians have done really great work in celebrating women's bodies. I do like feel really bad for Chloe because I think she just like gets so much trash for like the way her
Mm-hmm.
body works. And I just like hate that her a big chunk of like who she is like tied to her body. But you'll
Yeah.
see that like she's also lost significant weight, which she claims is due to like her workout schedule and her like years of like exercise and fitness, which she does work. I do not deny that she works really
No,
hard.
totally. I mean, we've seen that she works out hard. I get that, but attributing your entire rapid weight loss to just working out when you've been working out for 5 years and that type of steep weight loss hasn't occurred, to me, it's pretty crazy that 5 years into extremely working out, you've all of a sudden lost a bunch of weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And of course, like it's rumored. Okay. All of these are rumors.
Yeah.
Nothing is credible except for two, I think. Okay. So one is Kim Kardashian. And it's been rumored that she took Ozempic to like fit into her Marilyn Monroe like Met Gala gown. Do you know which like one I'm
Yeah,
talking about? The one where
of
she's
course.
literally an hourglass.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Literally
one
an
where
hourglass.
if you watched the Kardashian's Hulu episode on it. She basically had 1 week or 2 weeks to fit into it and
Ah,
was like 10 pounds too heavy or like just too heavy in her first fitting. So they gave her a week or two to basically try to lose the weight and gave her another
there's
chance to fit
no
into the
way.
dress. Yeah, she ended up like actually not even really fitting into the dress. They put like a drape around her back and like clamped it together.
There's no way that you can lose 10 pounds within a week or two with just pure exercise. Like,
No.
even when I'm sick and like vomiting and not eating, I'm losing like 5.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
10 is
Yeah.
crazy. And then also just like all the rumors that the Kardashian Jenners, like everyone in that family has taken it, which I'm not surprised if they do it.
No.
Okay, another confirmed celebrity is Chelsea Handler, and apparently she like just took it without knowing what the real purpose of Ozempic was, and that her like anti-aging doctor was just like handing it out to everyone. Which, first of all, what is an anti-aging doctor?
Also, I do believe her. Like, if my doctor tells me to take something, I'm just taking it. I'm not
Yeah.
doing my own research into it. So it tracks that you would just do whatever your doctor says and then later be like, oh, that was not what I wanted.
But it's really alarming that he's just like handing it out to everyone. And like
Mhm.
only like really rich people would be able to afford an anti-aging doctor. Like, come
Yeah.
on now. So it's definitely affecting the supply for people who actually need it.
Yeah. And also recently, Mindy had posted a pic of her looking extremely skinny.
Remember you sent me that pic?
Yeah, I remember seeing it and being like, is something off? Like, did she Photoshop herself weird? I was immediately shook by the picture. And then when it came
Yeah.
out later that she apparently has Ozempic parties, I was like, okay, this makes sense.
Okay, I want to go back to that picture because it's the
Okay.
one of her in the white dress. I'm sure like people who are familiar with this storyline have like seen it. But remember you sent it to me and you were like, did she take this in 0.5? Which I also hate 0.5. I think it makes me sad that people want to take pictures in like the 0.5 lens because
Mhm.
you are really just like distorting your own perception of like your body when you're taking these photos. And when you're posting it, like when celebrities are posting it to their like accounts of like millions of thousands of followers, like that's not an
Yeah.
accurate depiction of like who you are. And then when you claim, obviously, like we don't know if she took it 0.5, but I know people who
Yeah.
do take like a lot of influencers take their photos with like
Hmm.
0.5. Like that's a whole trend right now. When you claim that like it's because of diet and exercise, it's just like, no, it's because iPhone is able to distort what your body
Yeah.
looks like.
I forgot that I asked you if it was in point 0.5. Honestly, it really looks like it's in point 0.5.
Yeah, it does because she's eerily like distorted from top to
Yeah.
bottom.
I almost feel like it's double, like it is kind of in point 0.5. Plus, she just had extreme weight loss because her head looks a lot bigger than her body in that picture.
I don't know if you've seen this, but she has just been getting like so much hate
So much hate.
in this past year, and I'm really like surprised about it. Like we really haven't seen a lot of Mindy Kaling hate in a ever. If anything, I
Mhm.
feel like she has been relatively celebrated, especially within the Asian community. So this is really shocking to me.
She has gotten hate in the past, but it really dies down quickly because there wasn't as much of a pattern of behavior as there is right now, which is why everyone's able to hold on to their anger a little bit more, in my opinion.
But why is everyone just talking about her right now? Like, why is she so relevant?
I think because a lot of her shows have come out in the past few months, like Sex Lives of College Girls season 2 came out in
Oh, she
November, I
definitely
think.
has like a contract with HBO, I bet, because all her shows are
Yeah,
coming out on
and
HBO.
Velma came out, but she has also Netflix because Never Have I Ever is
Oh,
on
right.
Netflix. Yeah, and just because you have Never Have I Ever and Sex Lives of College Girls with a Indian lead who is
Hmm.
obsessed with like white boys, it really plays into her pattern of having Indian lead characters who don't really like their culture and are really rebelling against it and prefer to be like white in a way.
I just want to like backtrack and just talk a little bit about the different shows that Mindy has either like produced
Yeah.
or been on. So of course she became famous for The Office. Did you ever watch The Office?
No, but of course, like everyone, I've seen a million
Everyone
clips of it.
knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone knows of it. And she plays Kelly Kapoor, who is this Indian girl in the show. And she's known for dating this white guy and also like being super boy crazy.
Yeah.
And she was like a writer on the show. I will say Mindy's humor is like top notch.
Yes,
The
she's
Office,
so funny.
she's so funny. I think like we need to ground the whole like mini discussion, the fact that she is a comedian
Yeah.
and like comedians are known for saying for leaning into like racist jokes and like jokes that kind of like make people uncomfy sometimes.
Yeah.
And so especially The Office itself, it started like years and years ago and it's so successful because it's so funny. I don't think we can ever replace or like redo The Office in a way that it was done the first time
Yeah.
around, because this humor would not be accepted in like today's society because everyone is a little bit more politically correct.
Mm-hmm.
And that show is the furthest
Yeah.
from being politically correct. But so they like make a lot of racist jokes in general in The Office, but I guess people didn't really pick up on it because it was her first major TV
Mm-hmm.
show and like portrayal. But Kelly is this like person of color who is just really obsessed with this white guy who has absolutely no talent, absolutely no personality. Um, from like the start of the season to the end, and there just really is no like character development in probably like both these characters as there was in
Mm-hmm.
like Dwight, as there was in Angela, partially because these aren't like main characters of the show either,
Yeah.
but I think this was everyone's like first exposure to her. And then I
Mm-hmm.
think like her next major one was the Mindy Project. And she
Yep.
also plays like, I think she wrote it, produced it, and she
Yeah. Stars in it.
stars in it, which actually like blows my mind that she was able to do it. So you watched the Mindy Project, right?
Yes.
What were your thoughts on it?
Okay, so I remember thinking it was super funny when I originally watched it until towards the end of the show where like every show it really drops off. But I recently rewatched it, and while I do think a lot of it is still really funny, it, like The Office, has not aged very well.
Do you remember like specific scenes from it that you're just like, oof?
Oh, I do actually remember a specific scene where she's basically telling her front office staff to stop sending her like immigrant women without
I
insurance.
saw
Like
that
she wants
scene.
rich white women as patients. Oh, to level set, if you haven't watched it, Mindy is a gyno who works with three other male gynos in the Mindy Project. And it's about their like office life and then her life in general. And I think this was the second basically major portrayal of her being pretty much the same type of character, extremely boy crazy, trying to be, I guess, like a little bit more white, distancing herself from being brown, like an Indian American.
Were the other OBGYN, like, was there any other person of color major character in the show?
At some point, Tamara joins the front, or she joins as a nurse, and she is a Black woman, but it wasn't in season one, I don't think. So it happens later, presumably because they got backlash about not having another or any other person of color as a main character.
Yeah, if that was live in 2022, I feel like they would get canceled. Like the show would get
Yeah.
canceled
Yeah.
immediately. And you said that they were on for like 6 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, am I missing anyone? But no one comes to mind besides her. But I do think she learned from that experience and has grown because all of her latest shows and projects are extremely diverse and have extremely diverse casts.
Yeah, it seems like you really enjoyed Never Have I Ever.
Yes, loved it.
And also Sex Lives of College Girls.
And between Mindy Project and Never Have I Ever, Sex Lives of College Girls era, she did Four Weddings and a Funeral, which is like a remake of a movie, but it was a 4-part series on Hulu, which I love. It's so good. It's so funny. It's pretty wholesome and a very good
Mm-hmm.
portrayal of a college friend group who is like navigating adult friendships together.
Nice. So why are people mad about Never Have I Ever and Sex Lives of College Girls? Specifically, like mad at Mindy. I
Yeah,
feel like in general, the shows are still celebrated.
yeah. I honestly really like both shows. I think that people are still mad because it's still playing into her one obsession with white boys, two, her creating characters that don't like their culture and are actively trying to distance themselves from it. I think in Never Have I Ever, she did a pretty good job with Baby's character development to where in later seasons she does grow and not
Mm-hmm.
as like, I don't like doing Indian things and is more down with it. She even dates a brown boy in this last season, which I thought was fun and portrayed a lot of like brown mom and son dynamics that are pretty common.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
always very interesting.
Yeah. So I love Never Have I Ever, and I think Baby is a great character. Bella, on the other hand, in Sex Lives of College Girls, got way worse in season 2. They really doubled down on how self-absorbed and like immature she was, rather
Mm-hmm.
than giving her any growth at all, which I did not appreciate, and I don't think is even really realistic for you to get worse for no apparent reason.
The show's not over yet, right?
No,
So
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
she
yeah.
has like a redemption arc.
I'm sure she will because everyone's pretty upset about how ridiculous it got.
And also, Mindy's not like the only one that's like approving everything. Of course, she has like a
Yeah,
say in all these like show choices, but there are other people out here that are like making these decisions as well.
yeah.
Okay, and then the most recent show that Mindy has produced is Velma, which is slightly different from all the shows that other shows
Hmm.
that she's produced because this is like a cartoon show based off of like the lore of another cartoon that is so near and dear to so many people's hearts. And I actually watched one episode of it recently, and I have a lot of thoughts. I
Okay.
think,
Wait, to back up really quick, she did not write this show and she's only an executive producer and in the show. So it's different than her other ones where she's actually written the characters
mhm,
to level set Velma a little bit more.
yeah. Um, First of all, I don't think I've seen a lot of positive things about Velma. Have you?
Agreed. No, I have not at all.
Which is really disappointing because I feel like having a origin story for Velma, which is like what this show should be about,
Hmm.
is actually like a really great idea. There hasn't been a lot of really great Scooby-Doo content in a really long time. And I don't know if you did you
Agreed.
ever watch the live action movies
Yeah, I
of
did.
they're just so bad, actually
They're
so
so,
bad.
but I love watching them. I think they're like
Yeah,
funny, but
everyone loves the
yeah.
characters. And I think like what the show really kind of took away is the love that people had for the characters. Like
Mm.
they really put like a 2023 spin on these characters and really played into some really negative stereotypes for these characters. Like
Uh,
Fred is a guy that's like obsessed with himself. And also the show is like very adult swim like it's
okay.
very raunchy and sexualized, which is weird because this show at its core is not like a sexualized like these cartoons are not sexualized, and I was just like, am I about to watch some like cartoon porn or something?
And aren't they in high school?
Yes. So
Okay.
it's like heavily sexualized. I think it's like an okay concept if you're going to use like other cartoon characters, but
Hmm.
the concept of like the Scooby-Doo characters is just weird to like sexualize in my opinion. And the
Agreed.
people who are watching it are people who grew up watching the show.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I think what people have beef with Mindy about is, of course, like Velma is brown, and she's also the only character in the show, or the major character in the show, that's brown so far.
Okay.
And she's basically portrayed as like the frumpy, overweight, not popular kid
Mm,
in school. And
hmm.
then she like, there's this one scene at the beginning of the episode where they're like, oh, are you like insecure about the amount of hair that you have on your body? Which is just like, these are
Uh,
very, very played into
yeah.
character moments.
That reminds me, they do that in Never Have I Ever too, with Baby in season one. She's like super unpopular. They call their group the UN, which is like unfuckable nerds,
Oh
like in
God.
high school. Yeah. So that tracks.
And what's also really disappointing is, of course, Velma is obsessed with Fred. There's nothing good about Fred.
Yeah.
And the fact that like she's throwing herself for Fred. Of course, this is episode one, so maybe there's like a lot of character development, but it's also just
Yeah.
like, can't you just like have more self-awareness, or like awareness for who Fred really is?
Hmm.
I also find it weird. So there's this new character that they introduced called Norville, and he is also a person of color,
Okay.
but he looks weirdly like Shaggy. Like I was just like, whoa, is this Shaggy or is this like a new character? Norville
Yeah.
does seem a little bit more self-aware.
Okay.
And he also has like a crush on Velma, which is really nice. But Velma
Mm,
just like really brushes it off. Like she is like
yeah.
so into Fred right now. So I'm like interested to see how this plays out. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it again because the raunchiness is just like really irks me in the wrong way. Like
Yeah.
it gives me an ick. I'm just like, I don't want to
Yeah.
watch
Yeah.
these like childhood characters go through puberty and like the weirdest
Yeah.
ways. Like I
Yeah.
went through it myself and it was like traumatizing enough. So don't want to witness this. And they just like have a lot of stereotypes in the show that's just like, I don't know if this is tasteful or not. Like Daphne was adopted by this lesbian couple and they kind of make like lesbian couple jokes too. And
Interesting.
so I don't know if they're just like trying to be too like in the real like 2023 world right now or what, but there's definitely like so many stereotypes that they're like trying to address, and it just seems like the wrong characters to use this like platform for. Like, just to go back to
Yeah.
my main point, Scooby-Doo is like the characters are just so loved that it's like you're
Hmm.
kind of tainting these characters. I'd rather you take this concept and just do it with the whole a batch of like new characters.
Yeah. 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 Interesting. I think the writers, while Mindy's not a writer on the show, really were inspired by her other work to develop
Mm-hmm.
her character as Velma. And while it seems really like this is her lived experience, so that's in a way fine, like you're portraying your lived experience onto all of these characters, you are hearing the feedback live from every show, and you could have pushed back a little bit on this one to kind of remove some of the heavy stereotypes that have already been portrayed in your other shows.
I do think that there's going to be a lot of development for Velma. I think episode one
Hmm.
just like set her
Fair.
up for some like really poor like character personality traits. So we'll see, which I think is like why it was really disappointing for the viewers in
Yeah.
general. I think there is some opportunity for
Okay.
the producers to like really redeem themselves in this show.
I actually might watch the show. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay, so as like a brown American girl who grew up like watching a lot of Mindy content,
Hmm.
what is like your perspective on the hate that she's getting right now?
I think everyone's critiques of the show and of the personalities of her brown characters are fair. I do think that they really play into the stereotypes that she has observed and felt, I guess. Overall, I do really like Mindy. I think one, she's employing a bunch of people of color and giving
Mhm.
so many people their start in acting.
Yeah.
And, it is her lived experience. Like, what do you want her to do? Pull from other people, like, go interview other people to then write to their experience? That's really difficult. She's doing what she knows. It's working. She's getting paid
Yeah.
a bunch of money to keep producing kind of rinse and repeat the same characters at different ages. So whatever. It's employing brown people. It's funny. I still enjoy it, even though it is playing into these stereotypes. I think it's really funny. I wholeheartedly love Never Have I Ever. I think they do a great job of character development, and I really appreciate that they do that. So in my mind, she's learning a bit because she did have baby go through a lot of growth.
Yeah, I think like a lot of it is how society plays into this as well. Like on social media, we're very I think the Asian American community is like very forthcoming about like changes that needs to be made in media these days. But back then, like even 5 years ago, this really wasn't talked about.
Yeah.
And a lot of the like shows that were out, like Fresh Off the Boat, for example, I don't know if you watched it, but I don't think it aged well either. And back then it was like super celebrated. And so I think it just takes years. It will take a while for us to like get to the right amount of like Asian representation in media. I think we're in like a growing pain point.
Agreed.
I want to go back to the point I made that she is first and foremost a comedian, and comedians like play into stereotypes a lot, like very similar to Jackie Chan's earlier films, which also have not aged well. Kevin Hart, I think I saw someone say like Mindy was like the Asian Tyler Perry, and I find that like so true. But I think like every group in like the POC community has this like similar experience, and we're all struggling with this.
Yeah. Thanks so much for listening. You can follow us on all social media at Clown Vibes Podcast, or email us at clownvibespodcast@gmail.com.
And if you enjoy our show and want to support us, please like, subscribe, and give us a rating and review. That's it for today. Bye,
clowns.